You're not addicted to your phone, you're escaping something. You're not addicted to your phone. You're escaping something. We often reach for the simplest explanation. We call it addiction. We say technology ruined our focus. We blame weak discipline, bad habits, or lack of control. It feels comforting to label it that way. Because addiction sounds like a flaw that can be fixed with effort, with rules, with limits, with willpower. But people don't escape into something without a reason. They escape from something. Your phone didn't become powerful because it glows. It didn't become irresistible because it's small or fast or smart. It became powerful because of what it helps you avoid. Silence, uncertainty, loneliness, boredom, uncomfortable thoughts that appear when nothing else competes for your attention. When the phone is in your hand, those moments disappear. There is always something to watch, something to read, something to respond to, something to react to. Scrolling is not the problem. Scrolling is the relief. Modern digital life leaves very little room to slow down. Pressure follows you everywhere. Work never fully ends. Messages arrive at all hours. Comparison is constant. Noise is everywhere. Even rest has become something to optimize, something to measure, something to justify. In this environment, stillness feels unnatural. Silence feels heavy. Doing nothing feels wrong. So the phone becomes a pocket-sized escape, a doorway out of the present moment, a way to avoid sitting with yourself. Every app offers an exit, a feed to disappear into, a notification to respond to, a video to pull you forward into the next moment. Not because you're addicted, but because escaping is easier than staying. And the more often you escape, the harder staying becomes. Over time, your mind adapts. It learns that discomfort has a solution. Open the screen. Scroll. Move away. This is conditioning, not weakness. Your brain is doing what it always does. It learns patterns. It follows rewards. It avoids discomfort. Every time you escape a difficult feeling with your phone, the pattern strengthens. Every time boredom is replaced with stimulation, patience weakens. Every time silence is avoided, stillness feels more unfamiliar. Eventually, reaching for the phone no longer feels like a choice. It feels automatic. Your hand moves before your mind does. Your eyes search for the screen without thinking. Your attention shifts without permission. Not because you failed, but because you adapted. Moments without stimulation begin to feel empty. Waiting feels uncomfortable. Pauses feel unnecessary. You might notice this in small moments. Standing in line. Sitting alone. Waking up in the morning. Before sleep at night. Any moment where there is nothing demanding your attention, your mind looks for something to fill the gap. And the phone is always there. This is why putting the phone down feels difficult. Not because the phone is gone, but because something else appears. Thoughts you postponed. Feelings you muted. Questions you avoided asking yourself. The phone didn't create those things. It simply kept them quiet. When the screen goes dark, the noise doesn't disappear. It turns inward. And that can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes unfamiliar. So you reach for the phone again. We often think the solution is restriction. Delete apps. Set limits. Lock the screen. Remove notifications. Those things can help, but they don't address the root. Because the urge doesn't come from the phone. It comes from what the phone helps you avoid. Blaming yourself misses the point. It turns understanding into shame. It makes the problem feel personal instead of psychological. You tell yourself you lack discipline. You feel guilty. You feel frustrated. So you escape again. And the cycle continues. But nothing about this means you're broken. It means your mind adapted to survive in a hyperstimulated world. Technology didn't hijack your brain. It aligned perfectly with how the brain already works. Your mind seeks comfort. It avoids pain. It looks for patterns that reduce effort. In a world filled with endless stimulation, your phone became the fastest way to regulate emotion. Stress scroll. Boredom scroll. Loneliness scroll. Anxiety scroll. The phone becomes a tool for emotional regulation. Not consciously, automatically. And because it works instantly, the habit deepens. Over time, this shapes attention. Focus becomes fragmented. Thoughts feel scattered. Deep concentration feels harder to access. Not because you lost the ability, but because it's rarely required. The mind adapts to what it practices. If attention is constantly interrupted, it learns to expect interruption. If silence is avoided, it becomes unfamiliar. If stimulation is constant, calm feels strange. This is not addiction in the traditional sense. It's escape behavior reinforced by convenience. And understanding this shifts the entire conversation. The goal is not to remove your phone from your life. The goal is not to live like technology doesn't exist. The goal is awareness. Awareness of what pulls you toward the screen. Awareness of what you feel right before you reach for it. Awareness of what happens when you don't. When you pause before scrolling, something interesting happens. You notice the urge. You notice the discomfort underneath it. You notice the reason you want to leave the moment. That pause is powerful. Because once you see the reason, the behavior changes naturally. You begin to ask different questions. What am I avoiding right now? Is it boredom? Is it stress? Is it loneliness? Is it fear? Is it uncertainty? These questions matter more than screen time statistics. Because when you face the root, the habit loses strength. Silence stops feeling like an enemy. Boredom becomes space instead of discomfort. Stillness becomes tolerable again. Not immediately. Slowly. At first, the quiet might feel loud. Thoughts might race. Feelings might surface. That's normal. Those are the things the phone helped you avoid. Sitting with them doesn't mean fixing them instantly. It means allowing them to exist without escaping. And that alone changes the relationship. Attention begins to return. Patience strengthens. Moments feel longer. Presence deepens. Not because you force discipline, but because attention no longer needs to run. This is why extreme digital detoxes often fail. They remove the escape without addressing the reason for escaping. Understanding is more sustainable than restriction. If this reflection resonates with you, consider subscribing to The Digital Mind, where we explore psychology, attention, technology, and the unseen ways modern life shapes the human mind. The phone is not your enemy. It is a mirror. It shows you where your mind doesn't want to stay. And mirrors are uncomfortable because they reflect truth. When you see that clearly, something shifts. You regain choice. Not the choice to never use your phone, but the choice to decide when and why. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to punish yourself. You don't need to feel guilty. You need understanding. Your phone isn't the problem. It's the doorway. The real question is this: when the screen goes dark, when the noise fades, when there is nothing left to scroll? What are you trying not to feel? And what happens when you finally let yourself feel it?